Hey there guys, it's Tina and I am back. And I have been having so much fun just going through my collection and rediscovering the products that I have and just falling in love all over again. And I've been like testing out different products and like having playtime with a lot of my well-loved products, but also like diving into some old favorites. And I wanted to share with you guys all my BECCA highlighters. So going through my collection, I realized I have a lot of BECCA highlighters, guys. I have most of their pressed highlighters, and I thought it would be a fun video if I went ahead and swatched all of them for you guys. I'm gonna swatch them on my skin so you can see them applied, see how they look on my skin tone. I also went ahead and swatched the Light Chaser highlighters that are limited edition, but they're still available for a discounted rate. So if you were interested in checking them out, now is the time to get your hands on them. And this way you can get to see them on my skin tone. If you use me as reference, you can be like, I like that. I like how those look on your skin. Before we jump into the swatches, let's just jump into like a couple of details about these highlighters. So the ones I'm going through are the pressed highlighters, and these retail for $38, which is quite steep actually, and you get 8 grams of product or 0.28. Sometimes you'll get 7 grams and that's 0.25 ounces. So you get a decent amount of product, but they're highlighters though, so you're definitely not gonna run through these at all. But $38 is still a steep price point. So if you can get these on sale or get a discount on them, that's the best way to approach them. But just know, if you can find your perfect shade, it's kind of worth the investment because you're never gonna run through this, right? So it's like $38 one time, that's it, unless you break them. Because these are fragile and they can break easily, so I wouldn't travel around with these. But I've had them in my collection and I haven't had any of them actually break. I've chipped a couple, I've dug my nail into a couple, but none have actually broken in my collection. And I've actually dropped them, but I have carpet so they're not gonna smash. But just be very careful because they are fragile, and I've heard nightmare stories about them, and they are pricey, so you don't want to go around dropping these. I love the packaging of these though. They come in these kind of flying saucer style compacts that is signature BECCA with the BECCA logo on the top, and then on the bottom you have the label with the shade name. And the basic packaging is this dark brown, almost rubberized feeling packaging, but it doesn't get sticky over time. I haven't had any of these get sticky and I appreciate that. But then you have some of the more fun style packaging that are shade specific. So for instance, this one is rose quartz and it's a pinky hue. That's so pretty. And then this one is golden mint. It has a little minty reflect to like a silver packaging. Prismatic Amethyst is like a lavender silver. These are so pretty. So I love the packaging. I love these highlighters. And now we can go ahead and jump into the swatches, which is the most exciting part about this. So let's go ahead and get these on my face so you can see how these look once swatched on my skin. The first shade we're gonna go in with is Vanilla Quartz, which is described as a creamy light gold shade with pink pearl. This shade I think is gonna be a little bit too light for me, so I'm going in light-handed at first. But what I like about the BECCA highlighters is that they can kind of blend in with your skin without being too overwhelming. So as you can see, this blends right in, no issues. I'm gonna pack on a little bit more. So you can see this shade actually applies really well and blends into my skin, even though it's like really light. You can see it's a very pale shade, but this brush also helps to blend it in. I would say I definitely see the light gold. I don't see too much pink in this. This is more like a light gold on my skin tone. So you can see from a distance, very glowy, very beautiful, but not too stark, and there is no discernible glitter in this shade. So I really like this one. The next shade we're gonna go in with is Opal, which is described as a neutral white gold with soft pink pearl. Again, this one says it's pink pearl. This one is a little intense, so you do have to be careful. This is one of the original shades, and this is as light as I will go for myself, because they have one that's pearl that's definitely more of a white, and that one is a soft luminous white. So if you're really pale, you might want to go for that one. They also have Moonstone, which is a pale candlelit gold. That one is also for more pale skin, but for me, for medium skin and darker skin, I think Opal is probably as light as you should go. I feel like Opal would be the one to flatter the majority of skin tones, even though it's lighter. Like, it looks so wet on my skin without being stark. When I look at you facing forward, you don't see a stark line at all. It just melts into my skin. And as you saw initially, it can go on really intense if you want it to. Like, you can get that hot spot shine, but you can also really buff it and blend it in so it's not too stark, which is what I prefer. And compared to Vanilla Quartz, it's a little bit almost softer and more wet looking. Definitely has more shine than Vanilla Quartz, but this one I think also looks very good on the skin. From a distance, it looks wet, it looks glowy, it doesn't look too shimmery at all, but you can definitely build it up as I showed you just now. But even up close, it doesn't look too stark on my skin. But again, this is as light as I would go for my skin tone, and even the medium skin tone. The Vanilla Quartz is still nice as well. So here you have those two shades. You have Opal and Vanilla Quartz. Let's jump into some more shades. Alright, now we're gonna go in with some fun colors that are still pretty pale. So this one is Golden Mint, and this one is described as a minty green that transforms to a wearable gold on the complexion. So it definitely looks green initially. Let's buff that out. It buffs out to a very icy light gold. So you can see it's very light on my complexion. It wouldn't be my preferred shade because this is just way too light for me. Even blended in, you can see it. See, when I move to the side, you can still see that color, but you can definitely still blend it in and try to fade it into the skin so it's not as intense. But you see a little hint of green to it too, right? It's a little minty, but it's definitely more of a light icy gold. I like the shade, but it wouldn't be my first choice just because up close it's just too stark. It's too much for me. And let's see, from a distance you can see it. See, it has that cast on my skin, but as you can see, you can still blend it in to give a beautiful glow to the skin. Not my first choice though. The next shade we're gonna go in with is Prismatic Amethyst, which is a lavender infused with pearlescent duochrome pigments. This one is also a pretty light one, and we're gonna see how this applies. It applies pretty smoothly. It actually applies a lot more smoothly than the Golden Mint one. It's not stark at all. It almost blends in immediately on applying it to my skin. Even though it looks so light, it's still applying so beautifully. Wait a minute. Wait a minute now. Let's see if we can make it a little stark so you can see it. So you see the intense sheen before, but then look as I blend it out. It's just like it almost blends right into my skin. It's a little bit too light for me though. I did build it up, but you can see that lavender sheen to it. Still looks beautiful though. That is nice. I am surprised by this shade because I figured it would be too stark, kind of like this one, but it's lavender, it's pink, but it also almost blends into my skin. Still wouldn't be the shade that I go for because it's a little bit too light, but of course you can blend it in and make it work on your skin. As you can see, it blends into my skin. From a distance, you see it looks pretty nice. You can still see that light lavender, like pinky hue, but nothing too crazy, and even up close still looks nice. So there you have it, guys. We have Golden Mint, which I see the green, I don't know if you guys can see it, and then Prismatic Amethyst, which surprised me that it blends in so easily without being stark. Let's go in with a special edition one. So this one is Royal Glow, and this is described as a bronzed opal with a shimmering gold pearl. This one is one that I fell in love with because it's intense on my skin, but it blends in, and it's almost like a nudie shade. So it's not too stark, but it gives you that beautiful color on the skin. Again, a little bit light, maybe a little bit stark, but it blends in so well. Look at that. Let's see if we can show you an intense pop right there on the cheek and just blend out the edges. So you can see how beautiful that is. This is such a beautiful color. So it is like a bronzed opal. It's more on the nudie side. It definitely gives more of a bronzed look, but it still has this lightness to it. So if you're a medium skin, I think this would be a great glow for you. I would have to go very light-handed with this one, maybe blend it out a little bit more. But again, with these highlighters, they blend really well with no issue, and they kind of just melt into the skin. So this one is Royal Glow. Next up, let's do Smoky Quartz, which is described as a soft mauvey rose infused with cool shimmering pearl. This one is a little bit different because it is an icier shade, even though it looks like a more nude tone in the pan. It does give you a very icy reflect that looks wet on the skin, but this to me is a little bit, it can be a little bit intense if you build it too much on darker skin. So I'll show you the pop of color right there so you can see it, and then we'll blend it out. As you can see, it looks a little harsh, a little bit, but as you blend it in, it melts into the skin again. And I think I'm gonna say this about most of the highlighters. They just melt into the skin, so it depends on what you're going for. This one gives a little bit of a gray cast because of that kind of taupey undertone to this one. I like it enough. It wouldn't be my first choice, but it is beautiful. This one is definitely more golden. This one is like icy champagne. This one is like a silver taupe. So you can see those two. Again, not my favorite shades. Probably wouldn't be the ones that I go for because they stand out a little bit too much on my skin. They're too harsh. So here you have Smoky Quartz and Royal Glow. No glittery chunks at all. Just beautiful melted sheen on the skin. Alright, going in with another one of the light shades. This one is Rose Quartz, which is described as a neutral pale pink with soft gold pearl. So this one is definitely a lot lighter on my skin than some of the other shades. You can see it right away. It's very light. It's like a light pink with a golden sheen to it. Let's give you the pop. So there's the pop, and then we'll blend it in. This one again gives that little cast right here that tells you that it's a little bit too light for my skin. Now it blends in again, but a little bit too light. You can see from a distance it's definitely a little bit too stark, too pale on my skin tone. Wouldn't be the one that I go for first, but yeah, it still blends in nicely. You just have to be careful with the shade if you're my skin tone or a little bit deeper. Now let's go in with another light pink one. This one is Lilac Geode, which is described as a cool pink with a golden pearl finish. So there you have the pop. Let's blend this in. This one blends in a lot more seamlessly with my skin. It doesn't look as pink. In fact, it comes off more golden, like a golden peach rather than a pink on my skin. I actually really like this one. Wow. It blends in, gives me this golden sheen, but it doesn't look like champagne. Let's give you a pop. It doesn't look champagne. It just looks like a nude gold. It's not too yellow gold. It's not too frosty, not too bright. And you see it doesn't give the same cast as the Rose Quartz one. This one I feel like looks a lot better on the skin. Melts. Oh my god, that one melts into the skin. I definitely don't see any like lavender or pink. It just, oh yes, yes. This one is definitely surprising. Like you look at it in the pan and you're like, eh? But then look, yes, that one is good. So you have Rose Quartz, light pink, a little bit too icy, and then you have Lilac Geode. That is fantastic. I think, yeah, Lilac Geo definitely wins. Alright, let's go in with the Jaclyn Hill ones. So we have Champagne Pop, which is described as a soft gold with peachy pink pearl. This one is one of my least favorite because it's very intense and it doesn't really blend as seamlessly into my skin as I would like. It's definitely stark. It's a beautiful color though, but I just feel like it's a little bit too harsh on my skin. So I'll show you the pop and then let's blend it. It's not as flattering because it has a strong like yellow gold cast to it. That doesn't look that great on my skin tone. From a distance, doesn't look horrible, but it's a little bit too stark for me. It's a little bit too light, but on lighter skin tones, if you like more golden champagne highlights, this might be a pretty nice one for you. I know a lot of people love this, so that's worth checking out. Then we have the other one that she released, which is Prosecco Pop. This one is described as an ethereal gold. So the two shades that she released are very yellow gold. Prosecco Pop is a little bit more subdued. So there you have the pop. And let's blend it in. I think Champagne Pop is definitely more champagne gold. Prosecco Pop is still gold, but it has like a hint of like a peachy undertone to it, which makes it blend in a lot better with my skin, which I actually like. This one I would wear if I want like an intense highlighter, but I didn't want it to be too stark because it still blends into my skin. As you can see from a distance, you can see it blends in nicely, almost undiscernible. This one's a little bit more, hey, I'm here. And this one blends in a little bit more. So those are the two golden highlighters from Jaclyn. So we have Prosecco Pop again, and then Champagne Pop. I think they're pretty. They're just not like my shades necessarily, but I do prefer Prosecco Pop because it blends in just a little bit better than Champagne Pop. Let's do a couple more fun ones. So this one is Dreamsicle, which is described as a soft tangerine swirled in golden vanilla pearls. It's very intense, it's very golden. It has a, yeah, it does have a little bit of an orangey sheen to it, as you can see in the pan, but it does come off very yellow gold on my skin. With a hint, yeah, just a hint. Let's see if we can give you a pop. You see that hint of orange? It's pretty, and again, you can blend it into your skin, but it's a little bit too yellow gold for me. It's a little bit too harsh. Let's see if you can see from a distance. Yeah, you can see it's definitely intense. Not too crazy about this color, but I can blend it in if I really wanted to wear this. But it's a pretty sheen with a little bit of that tangerine glow. Now let's do Bronzed Amber, which is described as a warm bronze. This is one of my favorite shades because it really is a beautiful like amber shade, which means it's more of a golden brown, so you can see, but it has that golden sheen to it, but it still looks like my skin tone. You can hardly tell that I have this on my skin, which is what I prefer. I prefer like a very subtle glow. No matter how much I lay this on, like I can even push it on and it's still just gonna give me a subtle glow to my skin. I can even like pop this on the high points of my brow without it being intense at all. This is just this is my perfect highlighter. I think this is my favorite highlighter from the whole bunch, just because it's so subtle on my skin. It's almost like I'm not even wearing anything. Can you see anything? Like you'd be like, why'd you bother put that on? But it gives a glow without being stark. So here you have it, Bronzed Amber. You're like, where is it? And then we have Dreamsicle on this side. So my favorite. This is cute, and what I like about Bronzed Amber is I can use it and then put another one as a pop, and it just melts in and it's so pretty. Let's now go in with Rose Gold. This one is described as a blushed rosy pink with warm gold pearl. I think the pink shades for me are just a little bit too intense, but this one is nice. It has that pink sheen to it, makes it look a little bit too light. Like it almost looks icy gray on my skin, but it does melt in because it's a deeper rose gold, and it doesn't look too stark at all. Like, let's give you a pop. Nothing intense at all. This one is actually pretty nice. I think this would work great on darker skin with neutral undertones because it does have that kind of gray cast. You can see it looks a little bit stark, but it does melt as well, and it doesn't look crazy up close either. So I think this color is decent. Not my favorite, but still pretty. So let's go in with the two deepest shades that they have. So the first one we'll do is Topaz, which is described as a radiant bronze with a rich gold pearl. This one was the deepest shade that they had available initially, and they released a deeper one. Now this one I can still wear on my skin because it still has like a beautiful shift to it, like a golden sheen, but it's a little bit too deep. I would use this as a blush topper. You know what? Maybe still use it as a highlighter for me. I do prefer a skin tone shade that melts into my skin, and this one definitely melts into my skin. Almost as if it's my skin tone with a little bit of a golden hue. But if I put too much on, it's definitely gonna come off too dark. So I would use it as a blush topper. But it's still a beautiful shade that they released for darker skin. Then we have Chocolate Geode, which is described as a rich chocolate brown with gold pearl. So this one is definitely a deep shade. It definitely comes off as like a rich dark bronze on my skin, but I can blend it out, and as I blend it out, it comes off a little bit more golden, a little bit more light, but it's definitely still gonna look a little bit too deep on my skin. So I'd use this as a blush topper and not as a highlighter because it's not gonna give me the lift. In fact, it can look a little bit too deep. Like, see, if I give you the pop, it looks a little bit too dark on my skin. So I wouldn't use this for my skin tone, but deeper skin, this is gonna look gorgeous because it has that chocolatey base, but then it has that golden sheen that just glows on the skin. And this one is Topaz, which was the darker shade, but you see it still can work on my skin tone. So if you're a few shades darker than me, this is gorgeous. But if you're rich skin, I think the Chocolate Geode would be fantastic on your skin tone. I like them. I think these would look great on deeper skin. They're not too like champagne gold. Like, you don't see anything harsh on my skin. They almost want to blend in. So I think these two shades would look great on chocolate skin. To finish up, I kind of want to do the Light Chaser highlighters. There's 6 shades and they're limited edition. They're almost sold out. They've been on sale forever. You can still get them on the BECCA website. So I wanted to give you quick swatches so you can see these, and I want to show them from a distance. So this one is Pearl Flashes Gold. So this one is described as a pearl with a golden shift. And you can see it's definitely a golden shift. When I make it really intense, you can see that yellow gold popping out. This one is really gorgeous, and if you're into this yellow gold, you would love this shade, and it blends into the skin so well. But I'm not like a fan of yellow golds, so this wouldn't be my preferred shade, but it applies well, and you can see how pretty that shade is. The next shade is Champagne Dream Flashes Bellini. This is my favorite tone. So this one is a soft peach with a rose gold shift, and I love this rose gold shift. It's like a peachy gold. It's so pretty. It's so flattering on my skin tone. It gives me a bright gold glow, but it has that peachy shift, a little rosy hue to it, so it's more skin-like on me. You see the difference between this one and then this one. This one I definitely love. So again, it's Champagne Dream Flashes Bellini. I love this shade. I think this one is so pretty. Favorite out of all 6. Then let's do the pinky shades. So this is Rose Quartz Flashes Seashell. This is a very light shade. It's like a icy pink. So this one is a rose with a hot pink shift, and it's a lighter shade for sure. It definitely has that pale pink shift to it, but it has a beautiful sheen and it blends in nicely. I wouldn't build this one up on my skin because, as you can see, it's a little bit stark with that pink hue, but Still a very pretty shade, more rosy, but definitely like for lighter skin tones. Then we have Amethyst Flashes Geode. This one is a lavender duochrome with a blushed garnet shift. So this one is going to be a little bit deeper and richer, as you can see. It gives me more of a flushed pink look, and it's definitely a beautiful shade. I would use this as a blush topper because it is so pink on my skin, and it has that lavender shift, which means it's a little bit like a light pale purple. I wouldn't wear this again by itself because that pink makes it a little bit too icy, but this one is deeper and it would work well as like a blush topper. It's really pretty. As you can see, this one up close is a little bit stark. This one is a little bit more pinky rose. It looks a little bit more flattering on my skin tone. But these two, again, it's Amethyst Flashes Geode and Rose Quartz Flashes Seashell. And then last up we have the deeper shade. So this one is Topaz Flashes Gilt. So this one is a golden bronze with a soft emerald shift. Ain't nothing soft about this emerald. It's like a minty green shift. This is not for the tame of heart at all. You can definitely see the green in this. No ma'am. But it's such a fun color. If you're into fun colors, this might be a good one for you. And you can also use these on the eyes, so they're not limited to just the face. But that one is Topaz Flashes Gilt. Very intense, very severe. And then we have Opal Flashes Jade. So this one is a golden opal pearl with a teal sapphire shift. So these are the two most interesting shades. So you see, yeah, you definitely see a green to this one as well. And this one comes off a little bit lighter than the other one. This one is a bright green. This one is more like a subdued teal green. Not for me at all, but if you were into these interesting shades, these are a couple to check out. So Topaz Flashes Gilt, more emerald green, and then Opal Flashes Jade is more of a subdued, almost like a teal green versus like a bright green. So there you have those two shades. Alright guys, so that's it. Those are all the swatches, and I love these highlighters. Like I mentioned while I was swatching these, what I love about them is that they melt into the skin so well. They blend in so easily, and you don't have to have like a stark highlight if you don't want to. Like, you can really buff these into the skin. Even the lighter shades still look pretty wearable on my skin tone once I buff them in. I wouldn't wear them though, because some of them are just way too stark, like too silvery, too champagne. But they're still so pretty on the skin. I just can't get over how nicely they blend in, and they don't have any discernible glitter. Like, it's not chunky, it doesn't look weird on the skin. BECCA hands down knows how to do highlighters. They have a phenomenal formula, and the hype is real for these. Again, no glitter, no chunks, they just melt into the skin. They look so skin-like, but they give you this wet look. But you can still amp them up by spraying your skin with some setting spray and then applying them. Oh my god, they're gonna be glorious, like luminous, shiny. Like, they get the hype because they are definitely worth it. So hopefully this video was fun for you guys and maybe a little bit helpful. It was definitely fun for me to do, to like swatch all of them on my skin, because I have all these shades, right? But I haven't necessarily worn all these shades or really like played with them too much, and I wanted to see, do they all work on my skin? And you guys saw, so you know what I'm talking about. These almost all work on my skin. Like, they blend in so seamlessly, and I'm like, what? Except for like the golden mint, that was like, what is this? And then like the Geode Flashes Jade, all that stuff, like no child. And then the pinky hues is like, I would have to work with them a little bit more. But the fact is, I could work with almost all of them. And like I said, my favorite shade is Bronzed Amber. That's just hands down my favorite shade. No other shade lives up to that one. And that one is a lot more subtle than the rest. It's a lot more like almost face powder with a glow to it. And I love it. I absolutely love it. So let me know what your favorite shade is. What's your favorite shade on me? And what's your favorite shade on yourself? Like, what's your favorite? Maybe you have a top 3. Tell me your top 3. I just have my definite favorite, which is Bronzed Amber. I don't know what else would be like in my top. Well, you know what? Champagne Dream Flashes Bellini is number 2. That for sure is a gorgeous shade. Oh my god, it's so sexy. And then Lilac Geode is actually pretty as well. So those would probably be my top 3. But let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna leave all the shades listed down below along with links on where you can pick them up. If you pick them up from the BECCA website, you can get a discount on the Light Chaser highlights that are on sale right now. They're limited edition, so once they're gone, they're gone. And then the other shades are available at Ulta, BECCA, and on Sephora.com. I will leave the links down below. You have other retailers that carry BECCA as well, so you can find them all over the place. Just find the best retailer for you and see if you can get a discount, because again, these are pricey. I will also go ahead and leave links to my Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat where you can follow me along. And until my next video, which will be very soon, I'll talk to you. Bye guys.